Hello, and welcome back to A Moment in His Presence with Kim Bradley and
Joyce Todd.
my dear friends. And this morning, I'm gonna, where do I go when the storms of a life are raging? Who do I talk to when nobody wants to listen? I don't know what made me do that, but you know what? We do get to a point where we don't know where to go and nobody wants to listen. But you know what? According to Psalms 121 and 4, it tells us that we have a Father that never sleeps nor slumber. A Father that hears our every cry. One that is willing to walk with us through each and every storm we go through. As we've talked about prayer these last couple of weeks, all prayer is having that relationship with Jesus Christ. Just talking to him, plain and simple. There's no such thing as a perfect prayer. There's no certain posture. You don't have to be on your knees. Yes, it's good to get on your knees. You can lay flat beside him. You can do it in your car. You can do it when you're walking.
Amen.
You're just talking to the Father, and the Father hears you, and he will answer you. He might not answer the way you want him to always answer, but I promise you, he's going to answer according to what's best for you. Now, for the last couple of weeks, we've talked about Jesus' prayer from the New Testament, which is our model prayer, the Lord's Prayer. Then we've talked about the prayer from Jehoshaphat, when Jehoshaphat was afraid and he went to God. But one of the things both of those prayers had in common is that they both acknowledged who God was, honored God, and had expectations of God based on what God had already done. So we see that Jehoshaphat, when he prayed, he first gave God honor. He recognized that God was a promise keeper. He acknowledged his shortcomings, and he surrendered to the will of God. And then Joyce has actually come up with an acronym, guys. APPLE for her prayer, for the prayer, the Lord's Prayer. So let's give her a few minutes.
All right. As we look back on the Lord's Prayer, let's remember to acknowledge God as Father. We have a relationship. He is our Father. We are his children.
Mm-hmm.
P, petition God's will. Let his will that is in heaven be done here on earth.
Mm-hmm.
His will, obedience, goodness, salvation, abundant life, faith, and I can go on and on, but his will, we want his will to be done here on earth. Mm-hmm. So petition that. P, petition physical but yet spiritual food. Petition God to feed you daily mm-hmm. with his word. There's so many ways we can be fed for the nourishing, not just of our body, but of our spiritual growth, mm-hmm. to renew our minds. And so we want to petition God for spiritual food daily. L, long to forgive,
yes.
and yield not to temptation. We have to forgive of ourselves, the things we do, mm-hmm. what we do to others, just as we want God to forgive us.
Yes.
And we want to yield not. We don't want to yield to temptation. We want to resist that evil one, and mm-hmm. God can give us the power to do that. And then E, every praise is to our God, for it says, thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever and ever. That just seems like a praise to me. So put some praise on there every day. You praise.
Every praise is to our God. Every word of worship on one accord. Every praise is to our God. And remember, guys, that you are the apple of his eye.